Ah, Hawaii. The warmth of a golden sunset as the waves roll in. The freshness of a waterfall. The lush scent of tropical flowers in the air. You don't need to travel to enjoy all Hawaii has to offer. You just need to order pizza. Bring Hawaii home with the Aloha Trio, available for a limited time at Papa John's. Try our classic Hawaiian, Super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken for just $19.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
October 24th and 25th, hit the courts for Feisty Pickles, the first ever 24 hours of continuous pickleball action. Starts Friday night at Brace Athletics in St. Albert. It puts the fun in fundraising for Breathing Space, a groundbreaking lung transplant house. Recruit your team of 4 to 20 players and get your paddles ready to play. Feisty Pickles, Alberta Lung's 24-hour pickleball challenge. Register by October 15th at ablung.ca.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, there have been times when the Oilers since 2015 could have been considered a tragedy, a redemption, a comedy. Turns out it could be a thriller. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick, family-owned and community-driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Of course, you know we're live on YouTube and at Sports 1440 Radio. Online, we're at iHeartRadio, Radio Player Canada, sports1440.ca. And after the show, we go up immediately or sooner on Apple and Spotify podcast, and we tweet it out on X. We are on Blue Sky, but we don't send the show out on Blue Sky yet. I'm working on it. It'll be relatively soon. On Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, at JFenwick04, at SamW1440. There's lots to talk about today, including Chris Knoblauch signs an extension. We also have Steve Lansky on the radio. We have declinations. But first, we begin with the introductions. If he were on Chris Knoblauch's staff, he would be in charge of the power play. He's quick and shifty, even in the eyes. He's big boy Caprice from Dick Tracy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sam Wilness. Sam Wilness.
Oh, hello.
Do you know that movie, Sam?
Probably before my time.
Okay. There's a scene where Big Boy is talking to all his mobster friends, or his employees, basically. Okay. And he goes, "All right, I'm having a thought. It's a really big thought. It's gone." And it is the funniest thing I've ever seen Al Pacino do. Very, very good.
Okay.
If he was part of Chris Knoblauch's coaching staff, he would be in charge of aggression and back-talking. He's the personification of Reg Dunlop in Slapshot. It's Josh Fenwick, everybody. Josh Fenwick.
Am I really that angry all the time? I probably am.
No, Reg Dunlop wasn't angry.
You just in Slapshot?
No,
well,
but did you see Reg Dunlop?
No.
He was. You haven't seen Slapshot?
I have not seen Slapshot, actually. Sorry. I know. I've been lacking.
Have you seen Slapshot? You can't talk yet because you haven't been introduced, but yes, you have. All right. If he was on Chris Knoblauch's staff, he would be in charge of snacks, oatmeal, orange wedges, and if everyone is good, we go to BP for pizza on the way home. He's Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles. It's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody. You remember the dad in that show?
Oh, yeah.
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 He was kind and good. A little off.
Lucky guy, because for a cartoon character, that mom was pretty hot.
She got a lot done too. She was.
Was she Elastigirl or was that the daughter?
No, I think
what was the
wife
power?
the wife was she was bendy.
Ooh, all right.
Where are you going?
Hey, let's have a show today.
Okay,
I got a great declinations. We're gonna talk.
Steve Lansky's on the show. And we also have declinations, your top 5 whats at 12:40.
Yeah, so as I did for the NCAA and the NFL season, I'm going to be doing my top 5 takes for the NHL season. NHL obviously starting next week. This is the last Friday before it. So I have my top 5 takes, if you will, for this NHL season. But I'm also going to very quickly give just who I think is going to win and then the runner-up for the major awards.
Okay.
So it's really like, it's a top 5 with my takes, but it's 10 categories.
How proud are you that you've called the Lady Bing Trophy already? Excellent.
I didn't do the Lady Bing or the Selkie.
I thought you said the major ones.
I mean, okay. So I did Hart, Art Ross, Rocket, Norris, Vezina, Calder. If I didn't want to do too many, so I did 6.
But well, maybe I'll do.
Do you want me to do? I can do the Lady Bing. And
Well, because I always like the Lady Bing is supposed to go to the Rick Middletons of the group, somebody who got 8 minor league penalties during the year, but was really good and didn't win any other award.
Do they have betting odds on the Lady Bing?
Do not know. Do not care. I'm not into betting at all. I every day I go to sleep. That's betting on the next day. All right. So Chris Knoblauch gets a contract on my blog. People are saying, sure, he's made the Stanley Cup final twice, but we're looking for excellence. And I think that at some level, you can't be angry about everything this organization does. And Chris Knoblauch signing should be a no-brainer. He's been to the Stanley Cup final twice. This is an organization that doesn't have a recent history of going to the Stanley Cup finals. He's been there both times he's been the coach. I could not see them looking past signing him. That said, there's also some truth to the idea that some of the moves that he's made, certainly in the Stanley Cup final a year ago, were curious. I also think it's curious that Matt Savoy is on the 4th line tonight. I think he's better than that, and I think he will show that during the year. Having said that, there's no evidence that Chris Knoblauch will keep Savoy on a depth line if he shows himself able to climb up the depth chart. So I think it's a good idea. I think the Edmonton Oilers are moving forward in a good way, understanding that when coaches are hired, they're immediately admitting that they are going to eventually be hired or fired. And that's what happens all down the line. It never, ever changes. Who's eating something? Sam,
someone speak up.
You put your hand up, but this is radio.
I am eating pizza puffs, but not directly into a mic that's on.
Okay, I'm not your dad and I'm not your mom. But may I ask how often during the week you eat pizza pops for lunch?
Well, it's kind of just like a quick go-to lunch option for me. So once a day.
Okay. Do you eat the other food groups during the day?
I do, yes.
Okay. I'm not gonna make you prove it, but I am gonna have Declan make you some oatmeal and put it in a bag, and we'll see how that goes. All right. So the main thing I want to talk about with the Edmonton Oilers today is Connor McDavid. There's a lot of angst about this team and McDavid and when is he going to sign, and if they go into game 1 and he hasn't signed, is it over? There's some room that's booked for Monday and booted Karius out of something he was going to do, and people are like, okay, he's going to sign Monday, and hopefully he does. But the problem with Connor McDavid's current situation, it may change Monday, but the problem is that unless he signs, this is going to be a bigger issue all year. And I would just offer as proof that people are saying because Karius got bumped from a room from Monday to Tuesday, McDavid is signing. Karius gets bumped from one room to the other routinely in this building.
So can I clear this up?
Sure.
He did mention this today, that the direct quote was something about Kevin Karius said on his show this morning that he was supposed to host an event on Monday morning at the Hall of Fame room at the arena, but now OEG has pushed it to Tuesday because the room's being used on Monday morning. He did not say that the room was being used on Monday morning, just that it's still in the Hall of Fame room, but on Tuesday, he just had to drop out because of scheduling conflicts or whatever.
So it had nothing to do with the Oilers.
OEG is just said we have to push it to Tuesday. They never gave him a reason.
Okay, so it could be a McDavid signing.
It could be. Theoretically, it could be,
right.
But like...
Okay, so that follows with what I said. So people are drawing the conclusion, and I mean, for better or worse, but that's the kind of interest level it is. Somebody, drops a coffee in the hallway, and it's like, McDavid's not signing. And that's just before the season. It's going to get worse and worse. And there are other things that are kind of going to come into view. And I want to talk about that today because, and I wrote it on the blog today, sooner or later, one time when Elliot Friedman says he's making sure everyone is uncomfortable about losing 2 Stanley Cups in a row, someone is going to point out that Connor McDavid was on those teams. And some of the goals that hurt the team the most occurred when he was on the ice. And some of the guys who scored the goals were supposed to be covered by Connor McDavid. Then it gets a little uncomfortable for everyone because this is the captain speaking. And that's why I hope Monday Connor McDavid signs that contract, because the problem here is it can get ugly in a hurry. Fans love Connor McDavid, and for good reason. For a decade, he's been like the beacon of brilliance in hockey. I've watched him play, and I'm just still in awe of him as a player. That's why he has to sign the contract. Not because he's not a brilliant player, not because he's a bad captain, not because the Edmonton Oilers haven't won a Stanley Cup yet, but because all of the goodness that has happened in the last decade, and there is a lot, could be absolutely plunged by growing, I guess, unrest and the desire to get this thing done. I do not think this organization will remain the same. It's like a country song. The money runs out and the engine blows if Connor McDavid doesn't sign a contract. And that's my own opinion. You can tell me I'm wrong, but that's how I feel. Does anybody have any comments?
I think you said it really well. He is the best player in the world.
Yes.
Franchise player, but he does not get to be absolved of blame and say, hey, this is everyone else and not me, especially when we've seen what we've seen the last couple of years. I mean, quite bluntly.
You win or you lose as a team, right?
Yeah, you do. But the best players are the catalyst. Why?
Sure.
Win or lose. So, yeah, maybe more so win. Maybe losing comes down to the role players a little bit more. But regardless, I agree with your take.
What about you, Josh? You're from the other side, the losing end of the province.
All right, that's enough. Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to have to agree with you there too. Also, because I think just watching the preseason and especially whatever happens on this game will kind of paint the picture of what the rest of the season is going to look like in terms of lineups and stuff. And if we have that potential.
No, I feel like Connor McDavid has earned and he has received the adoration of millions of Edmonton Oilers fans. And I see no good reason for that to end. He has represented this team and this city brilliantly for a decade. And people are on his side. They are really on his side. But that too shall pass. And there is a danger here. We'll see how it goes. I bet they bumped Karius to announce Mark Pouliot and Tobias Reeder to the Ring of Honor. Probably. That'd be a good idea. I'd be willing to bet that if Connor leaves, season sales drop 40%, not because we're not all diehard Oilers fans, but because the Oilers organization has been able to raise prices at unrealistic amounts, but we all keep paying mainly because we know that we're very close to seeing 97 and 29 lift a cup here. Brad, that is a major consideration. They just put out the valuations of NHL teams, and it's a monstrous amount.
Oilers were number 6.
Yeah, like there's 2.45 billion or some damn thing. I might not be right, but this team is so valuable now, and they would decrease in value if Connor McDavid left.
That said, we've kind of had this discussion because it does bring up an interesting point. Like, how many people have their season tickets because they're Oil fans through and through, and how many have it because of Connor McDavid? I don't think season tickets are dropping 40% if Connor leaves. I think a lot of people would be upset. I think there certainly would be some drop. I think there would be anger at the organization and naturally at the player, even though he, wouldn't be here in this situation. But 40% is pretty drastic.
Mhm.
And I do think there are people who are just fans through and through and want to see the Oil win the cup regardless of who's on the roster.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, there's obviously an added incentive when the best player in the world, you get to see him play 41 games. But at the end of the day, I think most people are fans of the shield and fans of the emblem.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, they want
people cheer for laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And they cheer for regions.
Mhm.
Like Fenwick is a bit of an outlier because he cheers for the Edmonton Elks and the River Hawks and the Stingers and then the Flames. I mean, that's kind of an outlier, right?
Weird mix.
What's that Sesame Street thing? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is Josh Fenwick. Isn't that the song?
I was never a big Sesame Street guy. I messed with Arthur, Mr. Dressup, Blue's Clues. Josh texted in. He said, not our Josh, but different Josh. He texted in. He said, hey, guys, I've got, a Lowe's table, and we'll only keep that table if McDavid is in town. I get the added incentive of wanting to see the best player in the world 41 times a year. Like, that's awesome, and that's a luxury, and that is a huge factor. But I get, and this is just one text, but I am surprised to hear that one player, albeit the best player in the world, makes or breaks.
Well, people, I think they would have
investment.
I think they'd have to lower prices. I do think that would be a factor.
As like obviously the financials behind it, but you would have to lower it almost as a courtesy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, sorry guys, we don't have McDavid anymore. We're going to give you a break.
Okay.
Could you imagine if they lost him and they kept him? Oh, I'd be pissed.
Now, I'm going to give you the lines and pairings, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk Major League Baseball. We're going to talk NFL. We're going to talk a lot during the rumor segment. Edmonton lines and pairings from Tony Brar go like this: McDavid between Draisaitl and Frederick against Vancouver tonight. Nuge with Podkolzin and Mangiapane. Man, this looks like an opening night lineup. Filt between Henrique and Savoy. Tomasek between Howard and Kapanen. I think those two lines would probably be vying for the third line. Tomasek with Howard and Kapanen is interesting, but Savoy with Philp and Henrique also interesting. Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Emerson, Wallman, Regula, who's looking to be a regular, Skinner with Pickard, and Matthias Janmark apparently a week away. I haven't heard anything about Max Jones. This getting down to the roster is going to be interesting because there's going to be some guys who are hurt, like Janmark and Max Jones, maybe, and obviously Zach Hyman. So we'll talk about that and more on the way. All right, Steve Lansky joins us at 1. We also have declinations at 12:40 and rumors straight ahead. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace, it's amazing. Gonna get a new from Legacy. Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Buy more, save more, give more at The Brick. This week at The Brick, save up to 30% off furniture and up to 15% off major appliances. Your stellar night's sleep starts with select mattresses up to 40% off. Or score a Made in Canada mattress from just $159. Find store-wide savings on upholstery, major appliances, and big screen TVs, with a portion of proceeds donated to the Stollery. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Buy more, save more, give more at The Brick. This week at The Brick, save up to 30% off furniture and up to 15% off major appliances. Your stellar night's sleep starts with select mattresses up to 40% off, or score a made-in-Canada mattress from just $159. Find store-wide savings on upholstery, major appliances, and big screen TVs, with a portion of proceeds donated to the stall. Buy more, save more, give more at The Brick. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Backed by popular demand, Folsom Prison Revisited. The story of one of the greatest concerts in history returns to the Jubilee Auditorium. November 22nd. Step back in time before, during, and after this iconic Johnny Cash performance, featuring Devin Brain from $1 Million Quartet and an all-star band. You'll relive an event that changed the life of Johnny Cash and changed music forever. Tickets at Ticketmaster.ca and at the Jubilee box office. Brought to you by Stars and Stories Live.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
I'm sticking to breaking down the middle. Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. We talk sports and play a little Osmonds, too. Very good. Nice tune. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick, family owned and community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com. How many people in this room have mocked me openly when I've suggested that waivers can be an important part of team building and team destruction?
I don't know if anyone here's mocked you.
Mocking at great levels, pointing fingers, keying my car. Yeah, see, it's always Fenwick. All right, the Panthers have claimed forward Cole Schwint off waivers from the Vegas Golden Knights. The Avalanche have claimed defenseman Ilya Solovyov from the Calgary Flames. That's an obvious one. Wild have claimed Damon Hunt from the Blue Jackets. Hurricanes have signed Giovanni Smith to a 2-year deal. So, once again, I say, waivers, it doesn't always have importance, but it can be important to NHL teams. The big news, of course, today is Chris Knoblauch signing an extension. This is a coach who has been wildly successful by any measure. I know 2 Stanley Cup finals lost is disappointing, but you forgot the other part, the journey there, getting through whatever glass ceiling this team had. They won the West twice against Dallas. They are so close to winning the Stanley Cup. And maybe they did take a step back, but if they play the kids during the winter, by spring, they'll be fine. It's in that song by the Byrds. To everything there is a season, turn, turn, turn. You plant in the spring, and hockey spring is now. And then in the fall, which is spring in hockey, you reap the harvest. Matt Savoy, 18 goals, 40 points. He's on the second line. Ike Howard, third line winger, but he got 15 goals in part-time play. 9 of them came after January 10th, or whenever the Olympic break is. That's how you do it. Your money for nothing and your hockey players for free. If you play the youth, in the first half of the year, and then they should be fine. Play them before Christmas. Play them a lot before Christmas, and after Christmas, they will reward you.
Yeah, money for nothing, hockey players for free. The youth. Really, I really only care if they're free if they can produce.
But you can't find out.
I agree.
By playing them in the AHL.
I agree.
Yeah.
To a degree, but yes, you're right.
What was that before you said to a degree?
I think that's what it was.
If I were to look in Webster's dictionary, and hell, boys, we're getting close, because irregardless is a word, and so is regardless. What is happening to the world?
Yeah.
Even without a mic, Fenwick impacts the show. You notice that?
Of course.
Maybe we should have him in some kind of glass, like, enclosure.
Like in the Simpsons movie when they put the whole dome above Springfield.
I love it.
We just a dome for
I thought we should do that to Edmonton. I think it would be easier to get players to come here if we were domed. You'd have to get Josh to go up there and clean it off every once in a while.
I won't be doing that. But they should just throw me in a different room. They should give me an office, but it's just like a broom closet, and they say, this is the stream room, and I just sit in there quietly and twiddle my thumbs.
See, I think when you're my age, stream room is something else.
It's definitely the bathroom for a guy like you, Ted.
Yeah, you know. You can easily argue that had the Oilers played Broberg and Holloway in feature roles from the start of 2023-24, they would have won the Stanley Cup, because more likely than not, they would have gotten the Blues version of those two. I don't disagree with you, but the Ken Holland era was fading the kids who were drafted and developed by the Edmonton Oilers organization. And the Peter Chiarelli era was trading Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle. So I can hardly get mad at Stan Bowman for trying to sign kids out of Europe who replace, Xavier Bourgault and the other guys who were either traded or failed prospects. I think Oilers fans should be encouraged by how things go.
Can I say something on
No.
Yes, you can, Sam. Absolutely.
All right, Sam gets to talk.
This has something to do with the fact that, Stam, he's going out and he's getting players out of Europe. I do think a lot of sports nowadays are getting top-end talent out of Europe. You're seeing it in the NFL. You're seeing it in the NHL. You're seeing it in the NBA. There's a lot of overseas talent coming over and being extremely good.
Yeah. And I think Thomas Sek, whose name I remembered today, I would like to be congratulated for that. Lepinen, thank you. Lepinen, who has been, he got sent out, but he's been very good. Everybody's talking about Szymanski. So, there's something there too. So, I from my point of view, I look at this team and I wonder, if I don't know what Connor McDavid is going to do. And that's the sort of the outlier there. But I wonder if they've found a workaround, because some of these cats that they signed, certainly the goal scoring leaders in Sweden and Finland, Tomasek and Lepinen, but also Szymanski, there were teams who were trying to sign them, and the Oilers won those battles, which I think is a feather in the cap for Stan Bowman and the European development folks. And we'll see where this goes, but it's a nice workaround for a team that's traded away or failed on draft picks, and that's where the Oilers are right now. Sure. But the definition of irregardless is see regardless. I know, Squishy. That's my point. For years and years and years, I railed against the word irregardless. And then when it became a word, people mocked me. See, now it's a word. I'm like, it was always a word. The word was regardless. But once it gets into the dictionary, you have to acknowledge it. Like it gives it credence. And don't even try to come up with a different word for credence. And earlier this week, we had a word that I know to be a certain meaning, implied that it was lesser. It was not the complete meaning that I had described. So you've already ruined cribbage for me. Now the grooming is becoming an issue because of this other thing. Is there a problem with grooming now, Josh? Is that a bad word?
Well, the word grooming, or are we talking about manscaping?
Listen, manscaping is a perfectly acceptable word to use if I were going to ask you if you are manscaping.
Well, listen, I would agree with you. However, I think the company called Manscaped, which sells
No free sponsors.
No free ads, but sells all that stuff specifically for your underparts. Has kind of taken the words lunch money. And if you want to talk about grooming, I can see from both angles. I can see where you're coming from with that. That also being said, it is used as a way to describe bad people who do bad things to children.
So understand, I went to school in the 70s.
I understand that.
So when I say manscaping, I'm talking about young Declan here. When he was a swimmer, he probably shaved his chest.
Well, I was a kid, so I didn't have to.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
But a lot of hair in the 70s. I know what you're talking about, man.
Right?
I've seen the old videos.
Sure.
This is
Not
not
a lot of grooming.
How did Mark Spitz go so fast?
You know, he did it without a cap and goggles, too.
I know.
Yeah, crazy.
I know. And he wasn't manscaping. Anyway.
He just looked like a guy. It was cool. I was hoping we would have transitioned a little quicker than that, but it's whatever.
Well, we're in the middle of rumors. So we have to move along to the Major Leagues of Baseball, where the New York Yankees won because the Boston Red Sox had two chances to beat them and they didn't do it. The Red Sox problem is they traded away a really good hitter. He's in San Francisco now because they got stubborn on another good player, but Roman Anthony got hurt and they didn't have enough bats. And then Cam Schlittler, ironic in a segment where all words are being used, Schlittler is the most dangerous. Cam Schlittler pitched a brilliant outing for the Yankees last night, and they are on to play the Toronto Blue Jays. I think this is a better matchup for the Jays, just my opinion, but I think it is a better matchup for the Jays because they don't have to play a hit against Garrett Crochet what would have been 2 or 3 times. This will be an easier series. I think the Jays win that series, by the way. I think that they win the series. I think Seattle wins the series against Detroit. I think Milwaukee beats Chicago. And I think the Dodgers are going to beat the Phillies. I think the Dodgers beat the Brewers and they go to the World Series. I think the Mariners beat the Jays and they go to the World Series. And it's going to be a Mariners over Dodgers World Series. Anybody else want to give their opinion on the series?
Oh, man. You know, obviously I had a Reds-Jays World Series with the Reds winning. That is not going to come to pass.
But they got in.
They got in, and that's what it's about. And you're happy with that as a Reds fan, and you take solace in that. I love the idea of the Mariners being in the World Series, and I really do think, like, I obviously don't know baseball as well as you do, so I come at it from a bit of an, maybe underqualified angle. But the Mariners, everything I've seen suggests that this is a team who is just like they put it all out there and they get it done, and everyone comes to play and everyone shows up. And I think that mixed with what Cal Raleigh did this year, I think they're in a great position to win the World Series, or at least be there out of the AL. So I'll take the Mariners. The Dodgers are such an obvious pick. I guess you probably have to go with them just because of how much they've paid that roster. So I guess I am going with the same final you are. But I'll say the Dodgers go back to back.
Well, that wouldn't be a shock. And I mean, their pitching has been outstanding. And they do have, they've got so wall-to-wall pitching.
And so deep.
Craziness. So we'll see how it goes, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Football, what do you think of the game last night? Niners, any good?
I couldn't believe it. Like, I just imagine Kyle Shanahan coming up to Christian McCaffrey before the game and being like, hey, man, so you're going to touch the ball 30 times because we don't have anyone else. And that's what happened. I think he ran it like 22 times for 57 yards. I think it was 8 catches, got in the end zone. I was really impressed with, first of all, I was really impressed with Mac Jones. Like, Mac Jones was cast aside in New England, and it wasn't unceremoniously. Like, he was bad and he deserved to go be a backup quarterback in Jacksonville and then, try and go be a backup quarterback somewhere else, which he found in San Francisco. But he has handled himself incredibly well. He is playing very well. He's playing with a lot of confidence, which I think comes from Kyle Shanahan's system. I just think it was further proof that the 49ers are, like, they're a really, really well-coached team.
Yeah.
And they can have all these injuries. And the Rams, I think, like, we saw them play Philly tough, probably should have won that game. I think a lot of people think of the Rams as a playoff team in the NFC. Like, they're a good club. And San Francisco went out there depleted with a backup quarterback, but with a good game plan and ended up getting the win.
Brock Purdy apparently suffered a setback with turf toe. So, I mean, a concern, but obviously not so much.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look like it. Like the numbers side by side, like Mac Jones has outperformed Brock Purdy this year. And Brock Purdy obviously has been dealing with injury and lingering injury, but it does kind of speak to the system they play under. And it does speak to, what Kyle Shanahan can do with these guys.
This is a little out there, but I mean, it was not a concern right now, but scouts are expressing a little bit of concern about Arch Manning and his progress in his first season as the Longhorns starting quarterback. Any thoughts on that? Because we've talked about it before. He doesn't look like a Manning.
No, he has not looked great, but he has not looked great, but he has suffered from like the most severe of expectations, like true weight of the world on his shoulder. You were, number 1 overall recruit, and you go to Texas, and when you do get in behind Quinn Ewers, you look good, and you're a Manning. And he's had to deal with all of this, and he hasn't looked great. He has probably looked closer to bad than he has looked good, but I do still think there is time for him to blossom into a good. Like, listen, I think Texas beats Florida this weekend, and Florida's a team with a really good defense. I don't think Florida's going to be able to score the ball. It's not as much about Arch Manning, but I do think Arch is still going to. I think he is good enough that he can continue to climb. Now, is he going to be like a slam dunk first overall pick that everyone thought he was going to be? It's probably not looking that way, but I still think he has enough talent there to be a good enough quarterback. And more importantly, right now, be what Texas needs, because Texas's defense is so good, one of the best in the country. If Arch can just be slightly above average, that's going to be enough for that Texas Longhorns team. And we still don't really know what this Texas team is.
Yeah, it is early, and it's like this is his first year, right? So,
well, yeah, like first year starting. He started games before. He started that ULM Monroe game last year, and he looked good. He came in and got spots and had drives when Quinn was hurt, and he looked really good. He looks better doing all that than he has this season so far. But they've only played 4 games. I'm not out on him, but he doesn't look like he's the slam dunk first overall pick that people thought he was going to.
If you had to pick a first overall pick, which is a weird sentence, and I apologize.
Oh man, quarterback or any position?
Any position.
Oh man, that's a really good question. I listen. The first overall pick this year, I guess, let's assume it's the Saints. They're going quarterback because Spencer Rattler isn't the answer. I wonder if they look to another South Carolina quarterback, Lenora Sellers, who doesn't have the most impressive numbers this year, but looks pro ready. He'd be a guy I'd have my eye on. I haven't been overly impressed with Garrett Nussmeier, but I think he's a guy who could be in the conversation as well if he can, really kind of elevate his game. TJ Parker as an edge rusher, I think is a really, really good player, even though Clemson's having an awful year. So I would say, yeah, I'd throw maybe one of those guys' names in the hat.
All right. I love that you actually had names. That's how knowledgeable you are. There's something wrong with your... Did you unplug me?
I unplugged Josh's computer.
Okay.
And I will plug it back in later, but it's just with declinations coming up. My computer's at 16%. And this computer dies in like 30 minutes. This computer's 12 years old. It's a joke.
12 years old?
Yeah, I know.
That's older than Sam.
Can almost drive.
All right. Anything in basketball?
Yeah, they played a preseason game out in Saudi. Stars were out for that one. I think I just heard some mics click on over there. Do we want to hear?
Yeah, so it was Knicks versus Sixers, and new Knicks head coach Mike Brown. He played he gave literally everybody on the Knicks a minute, and they kind of went out there, dog walked the Sixers. They won 99-2. I think it was something like 87.
Yeah, Sixers were playing their opening night lineup.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's not going to look good for them.
There was a couple of good standouts there. Sadly, Jared McCain is still out for the Sixers, but VJ Edgecombe looked good. Tyrese Maxey looked good. There was another one of the Sixers rookies who also looked very good out there. He was an absolute dog. Let's double check this real quick. Not VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe was looking good, but I think it was like their second other pick that they had, because they have two. It was Adeem Bona was looking really good out there as well. And then tonight at 8 p.m., there's another preseason game, and it will be the first look of the Lakers after the offseason that they had. So first look at Marcus Smart on the Lakers, and same with DeAndre Ayton. on the Lakers, and they're going up against the Suns, who now have Jalen Green.
We're going to take a break, 12:38. I'm going to let you know the lines for tonight. This is according to Tony Brar, Morning Skate. McDavid between Draisaitl and Frederick. Nuge between Podkolzin and Mangiapane. Filt between Henrique and Savoy. Tomasic between Howard and Kapanen. Jones and Lazar. We've never gone a show without a sneeze. Thanks, Josh. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Emberson, Wallman, Regula. That actually should be it should be Lowdown with Lowetide. Achoo!
We should get that in a splitter.
Yeah. Skinner, Pickard, backing up. On the way, Declinations. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic. Lowetide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2. Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal. Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Groceries, mortgage payments, family holidays, a new car. That's what profit shares look like for Vision Credit Union members. Each year, we return about 75% of our profits, $35 million last year, to the people who bank with us. Because at Vision Credit Union, when you're an owner, you get your share. Why not get yours? Learn how at whatsyourshare.ca. That's what's your share.
He's the only person to win an arm wrestling contest with the Philly Fanatic. The Lowdown with Lowetide, now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, Friday edition for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Lovely day. Oilers play tonight in Vancouver against the Canucks. Looks like pretty much an opening night roster. That'll be fun. Time for Declinations, brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth double E football coverage on planet Earth. Even the space station can't beat it. There's one up there, but it's not as good. On YouTube and anywhere you can get your podcasts. And with that, the star of Declinations, Declan Krueger.
Yes. Okay. So my top 5 takes for this NHL season, plus my award predictions. So I'll do my award predictions first really quickly, then I'll get into my takes. For the Jack Adams this year, I have Dean Evison winning. I think Columbus is a team, they barely missed the playoffs last year. I don't think they're going to be some force in the East or anything, but I like them to make the playoffs this year. And on the back of that, I think Dean Evison wins Coach of the Year.
Okay.
For the runner-up, I had Ryan Huska. because I think Calgary is going to be a team really on the back of Dustin Wolf that's also in that conversation. They had the same amount of points as St. Louis last year, right? I believe. I think they're going to be a team that is right in that playoff mix as well, although I'm not as high on them to make it as Columbus. But I think with that roster, I think Ryan Huska is going to be in the conversation.
Okay.
For the Lady Byng, I have Kopitar winning. He won last year. I just think it's kind of like a swan song thing, and I think he is a very gentlemanly
That's
player.
a great choice, and it is typical of the Lady Byng.
And then for the runner-up, I have Nick Suzuki. I just think he's a little bit older. He's been a guy who's gotten votes before. I think he's going to be someone who's just kind of in that mix.
Great player.
Selke, I have Sam Reinhart winning. I think he's a really great defensive forward, so I think he's going to win. And I have Jack Eichel as my runner-up. Calder, Demidov, obviously. Then I have Matt Schaefer as my runner-up for that one. For the Vezina, I have Jake Ottinger winning the Vezina. I think he breaks through to a degree. I think Dallas is going to be a really good regular season team. I don't know how they're going to finish in that Central, but I think they're going to be right in the mix to win it. And I think Jake Ottinger breaks through. Like Hellebuck he's the obvious choice, but I just
Bloom's off the row is a little
bit better. I agree. And like he's deserved it, don't get me wrong. And he obviously won the Hart, but I think there are people who are going to be looking and this isn't fair because it's not about what you've done, it's about what the season is. But I think there are people who are going to look at 3 years of playoffs and think, is this really the Vezina winner? Now, Ottinger hasn't been some lights out, Dom Hasek in the playoffs, but I still think he wins. And then I think Dustin Wolf is going to be the runner-up. For the Norris, I gave it to Cale Makar. I just think he's the best defenseman in the world. So, easy choice. And I have Quinn Hughes as the runner-up. Rocket Richard, I think Kirill Kaprizov on the back of his new $136 million contract wins this one. And I think Austin Matthews kind of returns to form and he finishes second. But I don't think either will get 60. I think it'll be like 59, 58 or 58, 57, something
close
like that. Yeah. For the Art Ross, I have McDavid winning it. He hasn't won it since 22-23. Obviously suffered some injury last year and he still cakewalked to 100 points. Then I have Nate McKinnon as the runner-up. This one, I think Kuch, because I'm a big Nikita Kucherov fan. I think this is the year he really kind of takes a step back. I think age catches up with him a little bit. And I think he'll still be very productive. I think he'll still be one of the guys who's like top 5 in points. But I don't think, like you could have made a legitimate argument. Nikita Kucherov could have won the Hart the past 2 years. I don't know if we're going to have him in those conversations again. And then for the Hart, similar to the Art Ross, I have McDavid returning to form. He hasn't won it since 22-23. I have him winning the Hart. And I actually have Mikko Rantanen as the runner-up. I think he's going to do good things in Dallas. And like I said, I think that Dallas team is going to be pretty good. So now my top 5 takes of the year. Kirill Kaprizov finishes top 5 in points, but the Minnesota Wild missed the playoffs.
Wow.
Because I think the top 3 in the Central is still going to be Winnipeg, Dallas, and Colorado. And then I look at some of the, teams that I think could be in the wild card mix. Like I think Calgary could be in the wild card mix. I sneaky think Utah could be in the wild card mix. What about where do you come out on St. Louis?
Well, it's tough, right? Because I think they're moving up, and in any other division they probably make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But how the hell do you get them there from here?
Yeah, listen. It's fair, and they were a playoff team last year. I think Minnesota is going to be like 1 point out of the playoff spot. I think they're going to be the first team to miss that second wild card. Right. So that's my 5th take. Kirill finishes top 5 in points, but misses the playoffs.
Okay.
Number 4, you'll like this one. Carolina makes the Stanley Cup final out of the East.
I love that.
I don't think they'll win it, but I think they're going to be a great regular season team. They always are. They're going to have a favorable path in the playoffs, likely, although it's a little bit different, when you have to play teams within your own division in playoffs.
Yeah.
But still, I look at that Metro division and I think Washington is going to take a step back.
Yeah.
New Jersey, they can't really ever stay healthy. I don't know what's going to happen there. I just think, and then when I look at the Atlantic, I think the Lightning I think they're going to be a playoff team, obviously, but I think they're getting a little worse. Florida, I think, could arguably miss the playoffs this year. And the Leafs, they just leaf it up every year. It's all they do. So I have Carolina making the Stanley Cup final out of the East.
Well, I like that because I think they're a really good team. And I do think they're underrated because they don't have any super duper stars.
Yes. Yeah. Number 3, Sidney Crosby waives his no movement clause. He gets moved at the deadline to a contender. Now, I don't know where that would be, but I think, and it's tough to picture Sidney Crosby in any uniform but that black and yellow of Pittsburgh. But I do think he waives. I don't think he finishes his career in Pittsburgh, and I think he goes to a contender at the deadline.
If he goes to Florida Panthers, I will pitch a fit.
As you should.
but he won't, because I don't think Florida's going to be the way they've been.
I agree. I mean, no Barkov, Kachuk, obviously. Like it's tough for them. My number 2 take: Quinn Hughes plays his last season as a Vancouver Canuck.
I think that's, I mean, that's not a shocking. It's interesting, but it's not a shocking claim.
I think the writing is on the wall a little bit. Like the Hughes brothers are both locked up in New Jersey. Now it would take a lot to get him to go there, but I just think I don't think Vancouver is in a great situation. I think Quinn Hughes is a phenomenal player in his prime who has a competitive edge and wants to, win.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be in Vancouver. So I think this is his last season on the back of being contract eligible for an extension. Next year. And then my number 1 take for this season: the Oil win the Stanley Cup.
Yay!
But I have it as a bit of a caveat.
That's great for the show.
I think they either win the Stanley Cup or they don't get back. I think if they get there, they win. But I think if they I don't think they get there and lose for a 3rd straight year.
But if they
because I don't see them losing to Carolina in the Stanley Cup final, with all respect to Carolina. I think if they didn't get back, it would be at the hands of maybe a Dallas in the Western Conference. I know they've beat Dallas.
No, I know, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair because they are a different team this year.
Yeah. I think whoever wins the West is going to have a relatively easy Stanley Cup final, with all respect to the Hurricanes and with all respect to the teams in the East.
Unless somebody emerges that we can't see from here.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's my number 1 take. The Oil win the Stanley Cup. But if they don't, it won't be because they get to the Stanley Cup and lose again. They won't get there at the hands of someone in the West, probably out of the Central.
Right. So they either win the Stanley Cup or they're not part of the dance.
Yes.
All right. Waivers today, just out of, to pass them along and make them public. The items that I've noted are winger Georgi Merkulov from the Boston Bruins. David Kemp, who media has been talking about, the Leafs wanting to trade. He is on waivers. William Villeneuve, interesting player, also on waivers from the Toronto Maple Leafs. A little bit of a shorter list today, and a pile of them were claimed yesterday. Damon Hunt, placed on waivers by the Blue Jackets, picked up by the Minnesota Wild. The Avalanche picked up Ilya Solovyov from the Flames. Panthers got Cole Schwindt from the Vegas Golden Knights. 3 in one day. Waivers doesn't matter. Oh, yes, it does. Ask Glenn Sather about Ray Whitney. I know. It was a long time ago. Yeah. The Oilers were pretty good when that happened. Sid to Washington. And we get the Sid-Ovi pairing we've always wanted.
I think Washington, I think this is Ovi's last year as well. That was another take I wanted to throw out there. I think Ovi, what's he at right now? 897. I think he gets to like 930-ish, 925 and calls it a career.
Yeah. Braden says, longtime listener, I have to ask, since you guys were very adamant about how bad of an idea it was to run the McDavid-Draisaitl duo, all 3 of you were saying that Knoblauch and Bowman were not on the same page. That wasn't correct. That is not correct. I don't think anybody said that it was a disconnect between Knoblauch and Bowman in that regard. Do you take it back now? I can't, because I didn't say it, that Knoblauch got extended. In interviews on multiple platforms, Bowman has been saying that he is also for McDry together. When you say things like that, you have to be specific. Is there a show that you are referring to? Because I didn't say that.
Well, you did say it felt like Chris Knoblauch was rejecting Stan Bowman's summer. Because and I said I felt like it was them at odds.
Because the wingers that were brought in by Stan Bowman and Andrew Mangiapane, Savoy was here. He also picked up Ike Howard. Would have made that easier to do.
Yeah, like to
Braden's. And he didn't give those guys a chance. I still believe that. That's not the same as saying what he said. If they didn't have options, then that's fine. But I do think that what was done, and whether it was done by Bowman or the coach Knoblauch, flies in the face of what the summer represented. You can't go out and sign a bunch of wingers and then in the fall play McDavid and Draisaitl together and say, oh yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah, like I piggybacked off that, and I said it did seem like they were at odds to me, because it just, like, to your credit, saying it felt like a rejection of his summer. I agree. Like, I don't know how you go out and get
If it was a rejection of his summer by Knoblauch and Bowman, then that's an argument you can make. Bowman might have done that, and then Connor McDavid might have said, look, I don't want to play with any of these wingers. But the summer, as it was constructed by Stan Bowman, he didn't go out and get another center. He probably should have, but he didn't. Now he's asking Nugent Hopkins at 31 or 2 to play third line, and Henrique might be at 35 if David
Tomasic.
If he can't play third line center, they get a little bit of a spot of a bother. We'll find out during the regular season. They're in no hurry to make the playoffs because they'll make it no matter what. But they've got to have this button down. And I think they probably need a center because the wingers weren't good enough to play with McDavid. And I disagree with that. I think Mangiapane is. And I worry that they're putting all of this on Hyman. And when Hyman gets back, there's a great chance that he won't be able to score goals like he did in the past because it's a wrist injury. What happens when you have a wrist injury in your goal scorer? Sometimes you spend an entire year not scoring. If Hyman gets 11 goals next year, is there a precedent for that? Yes, there is. That's why I think it's important that they sign the wingers, and eventually you're going to see things like Andrew Mangiapane on one of the top two lines with one of the skill centers and the other skill center on another line. When Evander Kane first came to the Edmonton Oilers, he scored 22 goals in 43 games. He scored 16 the following year. He had the injury, 24 the following year. He is an absolute stone cold shooter. He scored 13 goals in 15 playoff games in 2022. You need that kind of production. I don't know if Zach Hyman's that guy. Leon can do it with McDavid. But if you were going to do this, you would have gone out and got another center, in my opinion. And they didn't do that. They got wingers. All right, it's 12:55. No wonder they wanted Frederick to play center, which I just don't think that's his strength. On the way, we'll be talking to Steve Lansky. We'll be talking a little bit about the inside the truck 1 hour, 2 hours. We're going to have those guys on the show coming up next month. And, of course, we'll get to weekend football and a lot about Major Leagues of Baseball. It's all straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. It's time for an update with Sam.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Papa John's. Enjoy a taste of Hawaii with Papa John's Aloha Trio. Try the classic Hawaiian, super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizzas for only $19.99 each at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Oilers have agreed to a 3-year extension with head coach Chris Knoblauch. The Oilers under Knoblauch have gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals since he took over for Jay Woodcroft in November of 2023. Oilers preseason wrapping up tonight as they head to Vancouver to take on the Canucks with puck drop at 8 p.m. Some other games happening tonight sees the Flames hosting the Jets, Sharks and Golden Knights facing off in Vegas, the Wild and Blackhawks taking the ice in Chicago. Oil Kings heading to Moose Jaw tonight as they face off against the Warriors. BCHL games going on. The Saints hosting the Trail in Spruce Grove, and in the AJHL, Devon and Camrose both with home games. Few collegiate games around the city tonight. The Golden Bears home opener against the Trinity Western at Claire Drake Arena, and the Griffins women hockey team taking on UBC at the Downtown Community Arena. In CFL, Week 18 getting underway with the Riders heading to Ottawa to take on the Red Blacks. Kickoff at 5:30. Coming up next on the Lowdown with Lowetide, we'll be joined by Steve Lansky. And this has been your Sports 1440 update with Sam Wilness.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Whoa, who turned off all the lights?
Experience the new charcoal menu at Booster Juice.
Charcoal menu?
Introducing the Eclipse Smoothie, Blackout Booster Mixer, and Midnight Booster Ball.
Where's that voice coming from?
Dark and delicious, made with activated charcoal.
Can we please turn the lights back on?
Sorry, I'm just excited about the new charcoal menu.
Wow, that is good.
Right? Available now, only at Booster Juice.
Groceries, mortgage payments, family holidays, a new car. That's what profit shares look like for Vision Credit Union members. Each year, we return about 75% of our profits, $35 million last year, to the people who bank with us. Because at Vision Credit Union, when you're an owner, you get your share. Why not get yours? Learn how at whatsyourshare.ca. That's whatsyourshare.ca.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit greatcanadiansolar.com and call today to get started.
Yeah, can I get yes. A common reaction from a veggie lover. Always scanning, searching, longing. But wait, what is this we see? The new McVeggie, now at McDonald's.
Coming up on Icy Road Drivers, Canadians face the repercussions of an early frost. Will this be a bump in the road, bring a stop to their journey? Or did they get an early reminder that it was time to beat the rush and schedule an expert service appointment at their local Toyota dealer? Because it's time to swap those tires, get that oil checked, and store those summer tires until warm days return. Book your appointment today and ready your Toyota for the road ahead.
He's the only person to win an arm wrestling contest with the Philly Fanatic. The Lowdown with Lowetide, now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned and community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. It's the Lowdown. We're joined by our friend Steve Lansky from Inside the Truck podcast. Next month, you're on with your brilliant co-worker on Inside the, really the boss of the podcast, on this show for 2 hours. We're going to do 2 hours, right?
Dude, Paul Hemming and I are coming this month. It's this month.
Oh,
dude.
I'm sorry. We went into the next month. I'm sorry. When, I've been doing a lot of preparation. We've got signs and everything. We'll work harder. When are you coming up?
It's the 27th. It'll be as long as you want. You realize it's your show. Like, it's got your name on the show, right?
Well, I don't like. I know
the show.
Paul can carry it for 2 hours, but your interruptions may drag the show. You know.
What do you mean, May? We both know it's going to be a gong show, dude. I wouldn't miss it just for that.
You know, it's funny because I knew it was October 27th because on my calendar, October 27th, I wrote pumpkin pie. So I didn't recognize it as you because I have such good feelings towards pumpkin pie, but you're bringing me one. So that's great.
You bet I am, my friend. I'm going to have it then. I heard you talk last week about whipped cream. I will try to have the whipped cream. It might not be the fresh made. I'd have to talk to the boss about making it fresh. Otherwise, it'll be the nice kind in a can.
Well, also, since you're bringing it to me and you're going to be traveling, I could slide one into the fridge here. So maybe I would take care of that.
I understand. Well, you let me know just before I go to pull trig on everything because it's in my calendar to make it on the 24th.
Right.
So I gotta, and you see, the trick is, people don't know this. You make the filling overnight before, and you let it in the fridge overnight. Then all the flavors mix together, and that makes the difference in the pie.
Steve Lansky, our guest, been Inside the Truck podcast. It's funny. He used the phrase "pull trig." That was often mentioned by management to Steve when they were in management meetings talking about his future and how long he would stay in a particular organization. That is correct, right?
You have no clue how correct that is. Yes, it is.
You're going to pull trig on you, Mr. Lansky.
That's it. I only had to hear the word pull, and I knew what the next word was going to be.
All right, let's talk about the Yankees Bo Sox. I honestly thought the biggest problem for Toronto in the next series would be Garrett Crochet. So he's not a problem, but the Yankees are. How do you see this? First of all, how did you like the Boston Yankees series? But how do you see the Yankees v. Jays?
Great series. The fact that the Yankees came back, it just kind of made me think, oh boy, here we go. I really think the Jays are going to have their hands full. I mean, there's really no weak spots in that lineup. I get it. No Crochet. Boston had a ton of left-handers. Yankees don't have that. I'm not sure the Yankees pitching is exactly where they want it to be or where they need it to be. But I think unless the Blue Jays pitchers, Gosman, Bieber, Savage, it's him, but if he goes in free at the Yankee Stadium, I'm not sure that's the way to go. I don't know how you get through that lineup. I think it's going to be really hard.
I have in the World Series, I've chosen the Mariners over the Dodgers, but I have picked the Jays to win over the Yankees. I think they're going to have just enough. It doesn't sound like Bichette's going to be in the lineup, which I know a lot of people are disappointed about, but I've seen so many guys come back. He's back, and then they come back and they go 0 for 4, and they grounded to 2 double plays. So, like Santander, he came back. He didn't do a lot early. I think sometimes when a injured player arrives back on a roster, he's so far behind. Better off just leaving him there. How do you feel about the Jays sans Bichette against the Yankees?
You know, I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought, let's say the Jays get average pitching, slightly above average pitching, which I think they could, maybe they won't. But when you look at like how they got there this season, great, how'd they get there? Bichette, Guerrero, sometimes Kirk, Springer. The pressure on them, and I don't love the word pressure, but the eyes on them are so intense. If those 4 guys, and if Bo's not in there, it's 3, but it'd be okay with 3. If those 4 guys can't repeat their season heroic, I think the Jays are in big, big trouble. And that's a tall order because it's real easy to be loose and relaxed in May. It's way, way harder to do that in October. And I think everybody is going to be staring at those 3 or if Bo plays 4 guys.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a great time, right? Like, Steve, I think people, we're old. And we have found a way in life to get afternoons off if we need them and evenings. But I think that, baseball, when there's 4 games on in a day and they start maybe at 11 o'clock or whatever, and like there's excitement and there's like, entire seasons are on the line. It is like playoff hockey's even better. The first round is even better, but Major League Baseball in October is so damn good.
Dude, over the last 3 days, there have been 11 games. I watched all, if not the majority, of all 11 games. Today I was asked, is there baseball? I replied, no. And I quickly had to dive behind the sofa to avoid the cartwheel. It was nothing but baseball in my place. I'm breathing baseball. I'm thinking baseball. I'm in withdrawal today. I know the game starts tomorrow at noon, Cubs at Brewers. I'm already locked in for that. It's in my core. And the first World Series I remember watching, and you said about old, you're older than me, was 1969. the Mets and the Orioles. And I remember watching that World Series on my little black and white in Toronto. I remember Ron Swoboda's catch. Don't ask me how the hell I remember this.
That was a great
But
catch.
I remember watching it live, and I wouldn't have been very old, 7 maybe. And from then on, it's been like, my God, I live for the World Series. And if the Jays happen to be in it, I think my head would explode.
Well, it really is such a majestic sport, and the stories around it, like the one of the reasons I think that baseball travels so well and the lore continues is I saw Joe Carter hit that pitch from Mitch Williams, and I'm lucky enough to have talked to both Mitch Williams and Joe Carter. I talked to them like a decade apart, and I mean, both of the men remembered the pitch to the millionth degree, what they were trying to do, what they did, why it was a mistake, and why Joe Carter had guessed right. I know all of those things because I talked to both men about an event that happened 33 years ago or whatever it was, and that's baseball. It's harder to do in other sports.
The only other sport that's like that is golf. I've talked to so many golfers, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and when you say the second shot into 18 in the 1975 Open Championship, they will cut in and go, yeah, 7-iron, I hit a little draw. But the thing I love about baseball is there's time to tell the story. It's so hard in other sports, but in baseball, there's time to tell the story. And it's funny because you talk about Joe Carter and Mitch Williams. The year before, the Jays looked like they were going to beat the Braves in 6, and then it went to extra innings. And we were sitting in our apartment in Toronto watching, and Mike Timlin flicks the ball to Carter, who happened to be covering first base on that play. And the game ended, and I ran over and I threw open our window. And literally 5 seconds later, the horn started honking. Beep, 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 beep. And Toronto was like immersed in it. We got out on the street and we walked all the way down to the lake, about 2 hours worth of walking, and walked all the way back up to our house. Yonge Street was shut down. It was just fantastic. If Toronto happens to do anything in this World Series, the city will go nuts.
Love it. I just love it. I really do. Final preseason game for the Oilers tonight. They finally are going to have their basically starting lineup. It was once again a slow roll through preseason, and I get it. It's 8 games. This is a team that's been to the Stanley Cup final twice, and there's the McDavid contract hanging overhead. Hyman's wrist is an issue. I don't think anybody is overly concerned about the playoffs, but the last 2 opening nights for the Edmonton Oilers have been absolute trash. Do you expect this team to come out of the start of the season stronger than the last 2 years, or are you a little bit worried about how they start?
I'm not worried, but I don't have any reason to expect that it would be any better. I mean, other than the fact they're playing the Calgary Flames, so you might get a little more motivated for that. Although I'm not going to lie, I hate it when people call it the Battle of Alberta. The Battle of Alberta happens in April and May. This is just a game between 2 teams that kind of don't like each other. Let's skip the Battle of Alberta part because this ain't it. But I think you would be a little more motivated. But the problem is when you've been to the dance, and now they've been twice but haven't won. Look at last year. The Oilers were 9th overall. Florida was 11th. They know that the regular season really just serves to get you into the postseason. So how you start, how you finish, kind of doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing in the big umbrella for the 82 games. And if you start strong, great. But I guarantee if you start strong, you're going to have a slide somewhere. It's just the way it goes.
Are you there's all kinds of rumors around Sidney Crosby maybe waiving later in the year, although that's, nobody said he will, but it's out there as a possibility. Can you imagine Crosby in another uniform?
He's not going anywhere. He's like Steve Eisenman. He's going to finish. He's going to finish like Nick Lidstrom. He's going to finish his career right there. There's no way Sidney Crosby's going anywhere. What he's done for that city, I mean, think about that, okay? Mm-hmm. You had Mario Lemieux. You won 2 Stanley Cups with Mario Lemieux. That's fantastic. And then you get this kid from the Rimouski Oceanic in the Q, and he lives with Mario Lemieux. Wow, he's going to be good. He's not going to be that good. Oh, my God. First to the Stanley Cup final and they lose to Detroit, then to the Stanley Cup final and they beat Detroit, then they win 2 more cups with the kid in 2017 and 2018. He's going nowhere. And if he does go somewhere, they should be ashamed of themselves in Pittsburgh. There are guys who deserve to go nowhere. Wayne Gretzky was one of them, but that didn't happen. Sidney Crosby deserves to go nowhere. The guy should be able to do what he wants, when he wants, for the rest of his career.
Do you think it was? I always felt like the Penguins got lucky and that Crosby, they had Fleury, they got Malkin. I felt like Crosby is a brilliant 200-foot player. And I'm not saying there's no weaknesses because he did have, injury, concussion issues, but he had you could really build around him, and you didn't need specific player types simply because he was a complete player, and you could put 2 college guys with him and have a line and then find somebody for Malkin and you had 2 lines. Do you think it was an advantage for the Penguins because he was such a complete player and really quite composed even as a young player?
It's funny. People say, oh, who's the best captain in NHL history? Everybody says Mark Messier. Some people say Wayne Gretzky. I'll tell you what. You could make a very, very strong argument for Sidney Crosby for 2 reasons. Number one, he started when he was so young, and he was a good captain at youth. Not all of them are. But second of all, that guy could captain anybody. I think Mark Messier could captain highly motivated people. I'm not sure about guys who weren't fully motivated. I think Wayne could captain both, but I think Sid can captain anyone because he's a really good people person and a really good player. And I would definitely make an argument for him being one of the best captains in the history of that league.
So how many AJ games have you been out to so far?
I've been to 3. And I got 2 more next week in Bonnyville. And then, probably 2 a week for the rest of my life.
It's so funny because you and I are 2 old cats and you aren't far from an NHL building. I'm not far from an NHL building. And I definitely go watch the Oilers. I love watching Connor McDavid play. He's a brilliant player. But I get just as much joy, I mean, sincerely, in watching young players or players in lesser leagues. I watch a lot of AHL. The game itself is wonderful no matter where it's played. Even the little kids who are all chasing the puck at the same time. I watch the brick tournament here sometime, obviously a higher level than that. But you give me 3 minutes watching a game and I'll pick somebody to pick out of the crowd and watch for the rest of the game. I love the sport. It's so brilliant.
I'll tell you what, last year I went to the Circle K Classic, which used to be the Max Midget U18 in Calgary. I went to the Circle K for the first time. Oh my God. The competition, not the level of play, it was great too, but the level of competition, holy cow, were these kids motivated. It's worth watching on the motivation alone. And if, the goals and assists and points and wins are fun, but man, the motivation to me is so much fun to watch. Everything else is just gravy.
Yeah, it's true. So, what else can I ask you about? I feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing, Steve?
I don't know. Is this a setup? Am I going to step into it?
I had 3 questions for you. I didn't send them to you, so I can't back it up. I've done the first 2. And the final one, we're just going, the Knoblauch contract, the coaching contract. There's a little bit of disconnect here. Not disconnect, but people are like, okay, but he took them to the finals, but he didn't win those 2 times. And the coach is responsible for that. So you can't extend him. But I'm like, he's in his final year of his contract and he went to the Stanley Cup finals twice, Steve. I understand he might get fired in the next 2 years, but you've got to extend him, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Let's just take, a couple of minutes, and I'm not going to name names, to remember the 5 coaches before him who didn't get to nowhere, never. That's it. End of discussion. Yeah. They had, some of those guys had Connor McDavid. Some of those guys had Leon Draisaitl. Some of those guys had better goaltenders than they have now. The discussion is over. This is a business. We're in a business. The guy deserves to be extended. That literally is all there is.
Yeah, it's true. All right, 27th. I've got it marked down. Pumpkin pie.
See you next month, buddy.
All right. All right. You're in trouble. Expect a terse DM.
I'll be ready. I'm looking at the screen right now.
All right. Thanks, Steve. There he goes. Steve Lansky, great guy. Inside the Truck with Steve and Paul Hemming, 2 hours on the 27th. Well, not totally 2 hours because we have like declinations and other things to do, but I really want to have them in because I don't know if you've heard Inside the Truck podcast, but it's really, really good. And go back and listen to all of them because they tell such wonderful stories. If you love sports stories, you will love Inside the Truck podcast. And I know a lot of you already listen, so don't even worry about that. Okay, it's 1:18. On the way, I think we're going to do something a little bit interesting. I'm trying to read the crowd here. And we had a brief conversation about the NBA a few minutes ago. And all three of these jokers, these jack-o'-lanterns who I work with, all got excited and popped up to the mic and heard the mics on. It's been months since they all did that. That means they're interested in the subject matter, and we should be too. So we're going to immerse ourselves, just put a toe in the water about the NBA season, and they'll give us an opportunity to hammer the Philadelphia 76ers as they should be. That's all on the way. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are...
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick, family owned and community driven, making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Ordinarily, and for the last number of, months, Tyler Yaremchuk has joined us in this spot. Tyler's show is expanding and getting bigger and better, reflecting its popularity. So he is not going to join us anymore. His show is going to 90 minutes. We congratulate him. We'll miss him. I will send him terse DMs. No, but we thank him for his time on the show, and we wish him the best of luck in the future. Do we know who his new co-host is yet? Not yet? All right. I suggested Don Cherry, and he balked originally, but I don't know whether he would go that route. In the meantime, I thought we could talk. We're going to talk NFL at 1:40, do a preview of the weekend. But I thought we had a really quick conversation about the NBA. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect the reaction from these young lads that I got. Ordinarily, Lowetide picks a subject and then the eyes roll. People begin to fall asleep. I look over a minute later, their heads are swung back, their tongues are open, and there's drool hitting the floor because they're bored. But when I mentioned the NBA, everybody came alive. So I'm going to throw the item in the punch bowl now.
You're spiking the punch bowl?
Yeah. And I'm going to ask, what do we like or dislike about the NBA? What's new? What's exciting? What are you all worried about? And feel free to diss my Philadelphia 76ers because I plan to as well.
Well, they deserve dissing. I like a lot about the NBA. What I don't like about the NBA is that Adam Silver came out relatively recently and kind of said, listen, we're a highlight-driven league. Like, I think Adam Silver is so far removed. He's so far removed from the plot of what the NBA should be. Like, these are, like, it goes without saying, it's a professional sports league. These are incredible athletes. But, like, he has pitched it into a bit of a circus, first with the play-in and then with the NBA Cup. And now coming out and saying, like we're a highlight league. Most people catch the highlights on social media, which to a large degree may be true. And obviously, illegal streaming is a big factor for watching the games, as it is for all major sports. But it just seems like Adam Silver is going about, like Adam Silver came in really strong. Pretty much immediately when he became commissioner of the NBA, he had to ban Donald Sterling for life. And he made the correct decision, and he made a tough decision, but he came down with the hammer almost immediately and got a lot of respect from everybody. Now he's treating it like he's Vince McMahon. He's rigging drafts for the Mavericks. We're getting trades forced to the LA Lakers. And he's coming out and saying things like this. Like, how do you look your fan base in the eye and say, hey, the games don't matter, it's about the highlights? That is ridiculous. That is so preposterous. And for the commissioner to say, hey, this is how we're pitching our league. And don't get me wrong, there's a market for having the NBA big on TikTok with Anthony Edwards or John Morant's dunks, or making it a place to go on Twitter because you want to see crazy crossovers, crazy spin moves, crazy threes. That's awesome. But highlights have always been a thing, but they can't be bigger than what the game is. And for Adam Silver to bluntly come out and say that is just such a ridiculous stance.
So you say.
Now, Declan,
and I'm right.
I do agree with you when it comes to the fact that, like, I don't think Adam Silver is half the commissioner that David Stern was. Absolutely not.
David Stern.
Yeah, David Stern.
I thought you said Sternling.
No, David Stern. And
does he have to pay attention to the whole show or just part of it?
Well,
I'm working over here too.
Josh is working over there.
Okay. All right.
Continue, Sam.
But there's a few things where it's like, when it comes to like, rigging drafts and forcing trades and stuff like that, I do think there is a slight degree of conspiracy theory there, but I do agree with the fact that he is making it a little bit of a clown show. He's tried to fix the All-Star game like 15 different times, and we're on our third, fourth iteration of what the All-Star game is at this point.
That's another thing. He came in and turned it into a circus, a commercialized circus.
So, okay. Who's going to win the NBA championship?
Okay, a real basketball question. I like that. It's actually funny you asked that, because I was looking into putting a futures bet on the NFL, NHL, and NBA winners as a parlay. I wanted to do Bills, Oilers, and then someone from the NBA, and I just couldn't figure out an NBA team to do it.
Wow, that's great.
Beg your pardon?
I have 3 kind of strong picks for you.
But that's the point. There's not one.
Well, the thing is, the one that probably sits atop the leaderboard, rightfully so, is OKC. Their roster is incredibly deep. They have the league MVP. They just won. They're young. They have phenomenal chemistry. But there's an element, like, it's tough to repeat. We haven't seen a repeat
Plus
in
injuries.
about 10 years now.
wreak
Injuries are a factor. Yeah, there's a whole litany of things that can go into it. So I don't know who I like to win the NBA championship. If I absolutely had to pick one, I think OKC is the safest bet. But like I said, there is a litany of things that can go into it that we just don't know yet. And it's tough. Like, it's really, really tough to repeat. Everyone thought Boston was going to repeat, and then they got hit with injuries. You know, like everyone, the Kevin Durant, Steph Curry Warriors, they only repeated one time. Like, we thought there would have been more than that, right? So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of factors that go into it.
I want to hear about, like, every year I think a bunch of things are going to happen. Like LeBron is going to bolt the Lakers, or the Knicks are going to change ownership and Dolan's not going to be involved.
That's not happening, unfortunately. I think LeBron, I could see him leaving the Lakers. I could see him getting traded this season.
I'd say, yeah, kind of like halfway through. And it would be kind of a, I want to go retire on the Cavs type of thing for me. But
I've thought that as well, Sam. I thought the Cavs would be a good landing spot for him, because the Cavs are a team that they're very close, and they have a great group and an incredible roster. And we saw what they did last year in the regular season, and we saw how good that Cavs team was. But if you add a guy like LeBron, now LeBron's going to have to come in and kind of play seamlessly and flow, which he can do and which he does have in his bag. But he has to come in and be a, pure distributor and say, listen, we're going to let Donovan Mitchell be the primary scorer on this team. LeBron's just going to do all of the little things to lead to those buckets. And he can do that because he has a style of game where he can come in and he can fit pretty seamlessly if he chooses to do so.
The only thing is, in a hypothetical trade, who are the Cavaliers sending over to the Lakers?
Yeah, it's a great question.
That kind of, like, because the Lakers are going to want to haul. They're trading, even though he's the oldest player in NBA history. I don't think there's a lot of assets that the Cavaliers would want to give up in exchange for LeBron.
No,
Jared Allen.
Yeah, like Jared Allen is a good one because they got Evan Mobley, who's really kind of their defensive stalwart, and they're, he's generally speaking a forward, but he can't play the 5. Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe it would have to be some combination of Jared Allen. Like, I wonder if Darius Garland goes back, but then all of a sudden you're depleting the Cavs pretty significantly. I don't know. I bet Max Strus would be in that deal somehow because everyone loves shooters. Get Lucas someone who, when he dribbles the ball down to 3 on the shot clock, he can kick it to someone who can force up a shot. I don't know. There's a package out there.
When are the Seattle Supersonics returning?
Oh, good question. Hopefully soon. Seattle's they'd be a great market to have a team.
Damn straight they would.
Yeah,
They're
they
talking about expansion, but sadly, I think it's going to end up going to Vegas, if
Yeah.
anything, unless they add 2.
They would
Unless
have
they're
to add
adding
2. They would have to add 2. Well, I guess I don't have to, but like presumably they would add 2 to even out the conferences. Yeah, Vegas would be great. Seattle would be better. I would love to see Seattle with a team. I would love to see Edmonton with an NBA team.
I've been saying that for years, but sadly, I just don't think Edmonton has the attraction.
Yeah, there's no chance. Edmonton, there's never in a million years.
Players barely want to go to the Toronto
Players
Raptors.
don't
They don't want to go. They don't want to go to
full stop. Players do not want to go to Toronto. How do you think they want to go to Edmonton?
Vancouver's a beautiful city. It's a port city. I'd love to see another. It won't happen, I understand, but I'd love to see another team there.
There is a small group of, I think, business owners in Vancouver who are like trying to get. I think it's something called. I saw it a while ago. It was like the 11 bid is what the project was called, and it was like we're just going to try and get 11 people from in and around the area and kind of like the Western Canada area to put a bid on these jerseys to see if we can get enough for a bid for a small market NBA team for expansion.
And what about Montreal? Never?
Never.
And that's because of the language?
It's
Montreal's an international city. Money spends there too.
It cannot be. Players do not want to play in Toronto. Toronto's like the 4th biggest city in North America in terms of metro pop, or maybe city pop. But my point is, like, that is a huge international city, money market.
Americans don't want to play in Toronto.
Yeah, and the league is however much American. Like Toronto, they do well, but players do not want to play in Toronto. That's
For
a
a
real
man
thing.
who prides himself on doing a lot of research, however much American seems a little
That's a
vague.
good question. What % of the NBA is American? Let me look that
I
up.
think right now it's something like 82% because they're outside of like Canada, and then everybody who's coming over from like Europe and Africa and South America as well. I think
about 75%.
75%. So get the 25%
Just
from other
make it
countries.
the Canadian national team.
Well, here's the thing. The current MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's Canadian, and I doubt he'd even want to go play in Toronto.
Well, the 401 is a mess.
SGA might want to play there, but it's limited.
Not until he's in his 30s.
Yeah, players do not it's not an anti-Canada thing, man. Like players just don't want to play in Toronto.
He's gonna go there.
Point blank.
He's gonna go there when he's 37. Like what happened with Hakeem Olajuwon.
So I'm gonna 133. I got 2 minutes. I'm gonna describe this, and then you're gonna say your name, yeah or nay. So I don't have time to look it up. So this is just by memory. Please don't get mad at me if I have the wrong years or stuff. The Edmonton Flyers were a team that played in the 50s and 60s, I believe, maybe even the 40s, in the Western Hockey League. It was not a junior league. It was a pro league like the AHL is now. It was demonstrably below the NHL, but on a par with the AHL. And the teams were independent, for the most part, of NHL teams. Some had affiliation agreements. Others just had free agents. So the Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver, I think they were called the Maple Leafs, and there was Seattle, there was the San Francisco Seals, the Los Angeles Blades, and they all played. Portland had a team, and there's about 10 teams in the league, and they flourished. It was really good. But as time went on and expansion occurred, and it became more expensive to travel and to sign players, the Canadian WHL teams, including Edmonton, faded away. Vancouver got the Canucks, so it wasn't a big impact for them. The Oilers arrived in Alberta in 1972, in Edmonton. Following year, 73, Calgary Flames moved from Atlanta. Okay? But that league, the Canadian portion of that league died because of money. And because it was easier to form leagues in the States that were self-enclosed for lots of different reasons. The gas prices, for instance, really killed the league in the early 70s. So my question is, we take what happened there, and we apply it to modern times. And we say, Americans don't want to play in Toronto because of the Raptors. And Canadian hockey players don't all want to come to Edmonton. Are we watching a repeat of this, except on the bigger stage?
I'm not 100% sure on that, mostly because you do have success in Toronto because we have a championship just recently, as we saw with Kawhi Leonard, but he didn't want to stick around for a lot of different reasons. And there's still a decent chunk of players who do say, I really enjoy playing in Toronto, or whenever we go to Toronto, it's a really great environment. But at the same time, it's just kind of like the last one left, kind of like how it's same with the Blue Jays.
Well, when I look at the Oilers, they are one of the richest teams and the most viable teams in the National Hockey League. Top 6 in value, many billions in value. If Connor McDavid were to go to the Rangers via free agency a year ago, does the league have an appetite? Because right now there are 7 Canadian teams?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember Howie Meeker saying it right at the beginning. He basically said, in his own words, that the appetite, once you move the head offices to New York, the appetite to keep the game in Canada becomes less important. And so I'm not talking about Toronto, and I'm not talking about Montreal, and I'm probably not even talking about Edmonton. But do we see an era where maybe there aren't 7 NHL teams in Canada? Maybe there's 5.
I can see, like, yeah, maybe 1 or 2 move to other places. I think the top 2 candidates for that would be something like, I want to say,
Winnipeg.
Yeah, Ottawa and Winnipeg.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
And then with that said, so then it becomes because when one region is less attractive for free agents, like right now, Edmonton's attractive because they win Stanley Cups, or they're trying to win Stanley Cups. They've got Connor McDavid. You take Connor McDavid away, and then all of a sudden that area is not available to you. You have to build a different way. You can do that, and people are going to pay whatever amount they're going to pay to get into the building, but maybe it's not at the same level. And I'm using this as an example of how important Connor McDavid is to Daryl Cates, and why I really believe he will sign, because the alternative is just impossible to deal with on a business front. Okay, 1:38 on the way. NFL weekend. We're going to run through, as Declan can do beautifully, every game and pick a winner that will be correct. Right?
Yes.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost. 1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, 1 rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. J-Mo pause there. I almost started reading the declinations liner. But
Well,
we've
it
already done that. You know.
Usually happens today at 1:40.
Yeah. All right. We saw one game. It was a good game.
It was a good game.
And we've
Most
got
games are good games.
Yeah. We've got an early Sunday, Minnesota Cleveland. Is that the first one? Is that correct?
Is Minnesota Cleveland the early one this week? It is, yeah, out in England.
All right. I'm interested in your take on this because This for me is a Minnesota win fairly easily, but I want to know how close it is for you.
Well, the line has it at 3.5, right?
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. I mean, Carson Wentz is going to get the start. I have to think Minnesota wins this one and wins with the points. Like, I don't think Cleveland can keep this one within a field goal. Dylan Gabriel may be good for a bump, but he's probably not going to be, right? Like, he might be good for a bit, but like the reality is this Browns roster is still the Browns roster, and he's a rookie making his first start.
Yeah, I think that's a great take, and you summarized it really well. It feels like I'm being fooled in not thinking the Minnesota Vikings are going to win this easily based on the line. Dallas, the Jets, a little easier to pick a winner there.
Yeah, that one. I mean, I think you got to go with the Cowboys on the strength of their offense, right? Like the Jets are just so bad.
Yeah,
the Cowboys aren't like world beaters.
No, but they've actually got a team. Jerry hasn't traded it all away yet. Here's what I'm worried about. I know I sound like doddering old man worrying about his Philadelphia Eagles who just won the Super Bowl, but I worry about the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos are kind of weirdly frisky, right? Like I fully expect Philly to win this game at home, but the line's closer than some people might suggest. It's 4.5. I do expect Philly to win by more than 4.5, but Denver's a team that, like, I don't know what their ceiling can really be, but they just beat the brakes off the Bengals. Now, granted, that's a very down and out depleted Bengals team, but the Broncos can be a team that can play spoiler a little bit. I don't think it happens this weekend against Philly. I think Philly's far too good. And like I said, and like I've been saying, Philly kind of has that Chiefs thing now where they just find a way to win games.
Yeah.
Like there are only 2 teams in the NFL who have less offensive yards than they do, the Titans and the Bengals. And Philly's an undefeated team with a couple good wins along the way. Tampa, LA. So I like Philly to win this one, but I wonder when that comes back to bite them. You assume it will at some point, not enough to really hurt them, but it's still a question worth asking.
I just feel like they are not as good as their record right now. Houston, Baltimore. This is interesting because what's going on in the quarterback room with the Ravens?
Yeah, Lamar. What's his status? Do we have his status?
I heard not practicing. That's what
so, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I got to look up his official status here. I don't know, man. If he doesn't play, it's going to be bad for the and like they're 1-3. They're not really in a situation where they can afford to not be playing Lamar and trying to win every, like they
could lose this game.
If they lose this game and go to 1-4, and I don't think Houston's a very good team, but if they lose this game and go to 1-4, I will be putting a future down on the Steelers to win the division.
Okay, so not 100% official that he will miss Sunday's game against Houston, but he is still not practicing.
Well, and it's Friday.
I have to think he's going to play, man. Like they're 1-3 and in a very winnable division with a lot of expectations.
Must win.
It's a can't lose.
Okay. Vegas Colts. This is interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Colts played pretty well last week out against the Rams.
Lost, but played well.
Yeah, they did. They were kind of surprising. Indiana is almost a touchdown favorite in this one at home. Now that seems generous, but I feel like any line we get for Indiana where they're a marginal favorite close to a touchdown is going to seem generous because we're always going to say, like, wait a second, it's the Colts and Daniel Jones is their quarterback. But they've deserved this line, and I think they probably win this one at -6.5.
This is interesting because if I went around the league and I looked for teams that Dolphins could beat, it's not like it's a large list, but they are at the Panthers, and they could win this, right?
I don't know, man. Like the Panthers are. Were you asking if the Panthers could win or the Dolphins?
No, the Dolphins.
Yeah, both teams could win this game.
Right.
Like these are two not very good teams.
But I don't know. Could the Dolphins beat 16 of the teams in the league?
16 feels high.
Yeah, that's what I think. So I think this is a game where.
But this is a game.
They got lucky with the schedule.
I'll say this: whoever wins this game, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Giants, Saints, same thing, or do you like
The Giants just beat the Chargers, and Jackson Dart gave him a little bit of a bump. I talked about that with Dylan Gabriel, and I don't know if he's going to do the same thing for the Browns. I probably like the Giants to win this one, even though the Saints are minus 2.5 point favorites at home. But here's the thing I would say. Like the Saints, it's really, really tough to go 0-17. Like that's hard to do. These are professional players. So I think the Saints will pick up wins in spots. This would be a spot at home against the Giants to do it. Maybe they have a bit of a letdown game after the win last week against the Chargers. But if I had to pick based on what I've seen, I would pick the Giants.
Buccaneers at Seahawks. This is a difficult one. Seahawks, Jim Zorn not there anymore. Dave Craig quarterbacking. How do you see this one?
Right. Yeah. Those quarterbacks. The Seahawks might just be kind of good. And Tampa, I'm not saying Tampa's 3-0 start is the same as the Saints 2-0 start last year, because I think Tampa's a much better team than that. But it could have some similar vibes. I like Seattle to win this one at home.
Okay. Titans, Cardinals. Do you think the defensive players in the NFL, when they see the Cardinals on the schedule, they go, oh, no, not that quarterback. I'm going to have to run all over Hell's Havoc. I'm going to lose 10 pounds.
Probably a little bit, but I think they also kind of look at it and like, we're still probably going to win the game. Now, not in the Titans case. The Cardinals are favored by 7.5 in this one. I don't know, I don't know if I like the Cardinals by 7.5 against anybody, but the Cardinals definitely the better team, the friskier team. The Titans, it's tough. And Cam Ward said it in his press conference. He said, if we keep it a buck, we ass. And he correct, because they are ass. I think they lose this game. And similar to New Orleans, I think they got to pick up a win or two at some point, but I don't think it's here on the road playing against a NFC opponent who they really just don't know. They play once every 4 years. I don't see it this weekend.
Lions at Bengals. Cincinnati is not traded for Russell Wilson yet. Unless, Josh, have they done that? No? Okay.
Should trade for Jameis. That'd be the fun one.
Right.
Detroit favored by 9.5 on the road. I think Detroit wins this one by a lot. I think this is another 30-3 game or something.
Commanders at Chargers. I've never wanted the Chargers to win more than I do this particular weekend.
Yeah, Chargers are 3.5 point favorites. I don't know what Jaden and Terry's status is for this one, but I like the Chargers to bounce back. They had a tough loss last week. They're at home. I think they win this game. Washington didn't look great against the Falcons.
Yeah.
They looked okay, but they didn't look great.
Patriots, Bills.
I mean, this is just such a spot where the Bills win by 25, 35-10.
So you're saying they're not Carolina and the Patriots won't do it again?
I don't think so. And listen, the Patriots actually might not be as bad as we think they are. And that line of 15.5 last week for the Saints-Bills game, obviously the Saints covered 15.5 is way too many points. The Bills, they didn't look the best, but it's, with all respect to the Saints, it's a little harder to just have your foot on the pedal to the metal the entire time you're playing the Saints. I think this division game, I like the Bills to win this one big.
And the Monday game, KC, Jacksonville 3-1, KC 2-2.
I wonder if Jacksonville's actually just kind of good. You know what I mean? I wonder if they're just kind of a decent, good little team there. I'll still pick Kansas City to win. It's going to be really, really hard for me to pick against Kansas City. Whenever they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, just in any game they're in, there are only a select few teams I would pick them to lose against. Philly would be one of them. Buffalo on the road would be one of them. Baltimore, theoretically, but not from what we've seen on the road, might be one of them. This game against Jacksonville, primetime spot, I like Kansas City to win this one.
Did we miss anybody?
Any games?
Yeah.
I think we got all of them,
I think we did as well. All right. Oilers play tonight. The final score doesn't matter, but the Oilers are playing their starting lineup, and I hope Vancouver's going to send out a top rate group too, because you want to be battle tested a little bit before game one against Calgary, and Calgary's got a hell of a goalie. The Oilers could lose the opening night. I don't think they're going to lose it 6-0 or 8-2 or whatever the hell the last 2 years have been. But Calgary is a substantial team. They should give the Edmonton Oilers a hell of a scare on opening night. My Colts are going to win, says Husks. A lot of times, maybe you guys are different, but a lot of times in life, you view a franchise in a way that is framed by how well they played when you entered fandom in a particular league. And when I entered fandom, Burt Jones was the quarterback for the Colts, and they were in Baltimore, and they were kind of a like 7-7, 8-8 team. They were sort of, so was the Buffalo Bills, by the way. They were sort of that middling ground team that you know, maybe they made the playoffs, maybe they didn't, but they were not terribly interesting. And this is like 10 years after Bart Starr. So the Colts in Baltimore had great success, but it wasn't during that time. And so I've always viewed the Colts as that way. But during the time since Burt Jones, they've either been brilliant or kind of meh. Where are the Colts now, in your opinion?
I still think they're meh, but like their record and the way they've played would suggest that they're good. Listen, I'll say this. They could win the AFC South handily. Now, Jacksonville, also a 3-1 team. They're well, like we just talked about them. They might be good as well. But I'm not saying they will, but they could.
Do you think it's wise to do preseason predictions of the NFL based on the quality and cut of the quarterback's hair?
It's not the worst way to do it.
Right.
I'll say that.
It
might not be the first way.
One time I had a coworker win over $1,400 in the NFL weekly pool. It was like, I think it was $20 each, and there was a lot of people in it, based on places they would like to go visit. And they won it all.
That's like when someone's wife wins the March Madness based on picking the mascots as opposed to watching the games. You're happy for them, but it kind of eats away at you.
Well, because, you know, you could have done that without all the research. So what's the plan for you? I know Saturday's a write-off.
Yeah, you know, college football, NFL. Take it easy. Enjoy the fruits of my labor. Bud Light Apple.
I hate to be,
a lot
you
of
know,
nicotine pouches.
the ombudsman for your girlfriend, but are you going to spend a little time with her?
Of course. We're going dinner and a movie tonight.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be awesome.
Have you picked the movie?
We're watching that new Leo movie. She actually listened to one of the intros of our show not too long ago and got mad at me because she was like, why did you tell them you have to explain to me there's football on Saturday and Sunday? You don't do that. You're rude. She got mad at me for that.
I like her. I like that she gets mad at you and puts you in your place. You need that in your life. You need somebody to keep you humble and call you on you know the word.
Tiger don't change his stripes.
No, but you're not a tiger. You're a human.
Big dogs don't get eaten.
Not a dog either. Try again.
There's a hunter analogy reference in there somewhere.
Well, you're going to see the Leo movie. Aren't there guns in that one?
I think so.
Yeah. It looks like a pretty good movie.
I'm
the
excited.
Reviews have been good.
Do you want to come?
No, I do not. But I want you to have a wonderful time with your lady. You know. And then do you call her during halftime? How you doing?
No. What a funny visual. Hey, what you doing?
How's it going? I'm over here.
Just to keep up appearances.
Don't come over. All right. Jason Gregor on the way. Please enjoy your weekend and give her hell whatever you're going to do, but make it legal.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Play Alberta. Brought to you by Loca Quality Market. Your fridge just got an upgrade. Over 200 chef-prepared gourmet meals waiting at Loca Quality Market. Shop Loca at Loca. CA. The Edmonton Oilers have agreed to a 3-year contract extension with head coach Chris Knoblauch. The Oilers, under Knoblauch, have done back-to-back Stanley Cup finals since he took over for the Jay Woodcroft in November of 2023. Preseason wrapping up tonight as the Oilers head to Vancouver to take on the Canucks with puck drop at 8 p.m. Some other games around the league tonight. The Flames hosting the Jets, the Sharks and the Golden Knights facing off in Vegas, and the Wild and Blackhawks taking the ice in Chicago. Oil Kings have a game tonight in Moose Jaw. They head there to take on the Warriors. In the BCHL, the Saints hosting Trail in Spruce Grove, and in the AJHL, Devon and Camrose both with home games, as well as a few collegiate games around the city tonight. Golden Bears home opener against Trinity Western at Player Drake Arena, and the Griffins women hockey team taking on UBC at the Downtown Community Arena. in the CFL. Week 18 getting underway as the Riders head to Ottawa to take on the Red Blacks. Kickoff at 5:30. Coming up at the top of the hour, it's the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. And this has been your Sports 1440 update.
Sports